And we have a shot. Oh! Peter Jarvis on the score sheet.
Great goal. What a goal from Craig Marie. There we go. Goal for South Africa.
Oh my God.
The reply straight away. And there it is. Goal for Cody Posthumus. Kevin Peterson and the ball in. Oh! Goal for South Africa. 14 goals in 2 games. It's competitive, it's even, it's marvelous stuff.
It's marvelous stuff.
It's marvelous. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, South Africa. And I can confidently say good evening around the world. It's the series decided tonight in the boys' game. South Africa and Australia schools. It couldn't get better than this. 2 draws in the previous 2 games. Whoever wins tonight wins the series. Jethro Eustace with me in the commentary box this evening. Jethro, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Swallow. Yeah, when you're seeing 3 goals each in the first game and then 4 goals each in the second game, can't imagine what tonight's going to bring.
So teams are getting ready to line up for the national anthems, and this the final evening of what has been an amazing 3 days of hockey so far.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think both teams are here to put out their national flag, their country, and everything they've worked forward to over the last while. And yeah, can't wait to see the connections, the tactical play, and everything else that goes with it to get the result at the end of it.
So here we go, Advance Australia Fair. Sit back wherever you are around the world and enjoy this moment. There we have it, the Australian national anthem. No doubt the boys out there and Coach Scott Smith will be looking to do some proper business this evening. There we go, the sounds of Nkosi Sikelel' Africa resonating for the home crowd. So I noticed there, Jethro, that Matthew Dewar, in fact there he is on screen, the young man Jared Campbell, has taken over the captaincy of South Africa this evening. Unfortunately, Matthew Dewar has sustained a finger injury and is unable to take part in this game this evening. Unfortunate, because he's been a real presence for South Africa and a quality young man. I've had the opportunity to chat with him over the last few days. He's a credit to Selborne College, credit to his family. So a little thought out for Matt Dewar this evening.
Yeah, Swat, I agree with you on there. On that note, I had a chat to him before the ladies' game started and had an interview at halftime there with him. Nice, calm, collected man, very respectful. And I think his presence on the field will be sorely missed. I think in midfield and up front, the players need that connections, and he adds the value that is needed there. And I think if anything goes by, the boys will stick up and put up their hand for him and give their all for him and everybody out here that's watching. Just on that note, the crowd is immense tonight again. I think third night in a row the crowd has been out here by their thousands, and exciting to see.
And also, on that same note, I noticed that Kai Willott has taken over the armband as well in terms of the captaincy from Michael Doan. Not quite sure if he is unwell today. We'll have a look. Didn't manage to catch up with the Australian management before this game, but nonetheless, here we are. A lot of nerves and tension and anxiety we present in these players this evening. It's the series decider. 2 draws, 3-3 on the first night, 4-4 last night. You know, whoever takes this game will take the honours of this series. The South Africans are defending champions after the Pretoria series in 2016. But who knows? It could be another draw tonight, and the series is drawn.
Yeah, it would be exciting. I think I've spoken to another few people that would be interested to see what happens if there was another draw, and then do we go to shootouts or do we just keep it as a draw? Would be interesting. But yeah, here we go. Aussies with the ball at the back in their traditional back 4.
So on that note, Jethro, you posed the question, and I had this conversation with the Australian management just a few days ago when we opened this whole procedure, and the decision has been made that if it's a draw, it's a draw. There will be no shootout to determine the series. If it ends up 3 apiece, then the brother Paul Creevy Friendship Cup is shared.
That's exciting. I think that means that both teams are going out to win this game, which is exciting to hear. Yeah, all on the line, and I think when we look at the 2 squads, both matching each other equally, and I think the scorelines have said that. Right, there goes Stephen Conway with the ball. First touch in the game for him. Yeah, bit of a physical battle out there already. Good start from those Australians.
So I think key for me, and excuse me if I bore our audience again this evening, but the one thing that I've said on both nights here, Jethro, is I think key is going to be who controls possession firstly, because I think possession is one thing that has been bounced around a little bit on both teams, and I think that's the reason why we've seen so many goals and the draws. And I think secondly to that, the next thing is going to be just how the Australians choose to close the South African space down tonight.
Yes, what I think another point we can make out here for this game, it's pretty much like a cup match. This you knockout stages, you have to win it to in the end win something. So yeah, I think you're right. Whoever controls the game for large periods would actually in the end might make more opportunities, and if you take your opportunities, you will take the lead. And then at the end, as they say, the more goals you score more than the opposition, you win the game.
Yeah, certainly. And again, I see there, you know, just in the Australian press, Caleb Christensen, number 2, not quite being able to cut off even Van der Merwe. Again, I'm going to be critical here and say that's been a problem with the Australians in these last 3 matches. They're going with the high press. They're looking to cut the centre backs. They then do encourage them to get mobile with the ball, but there's just no turnover afterwards.
Yeah, and I think as we look at the midfield here, they're actually they're not picking up man-to-man. They're almost going zonal in midfield, and maybe that's another way of seeing it, is that they're not getting the interception or the turnovers in the right areas.
Right, so here goes South Africa with Van der Merwe. He goes out to Maguire. Again, Tevin Peterson creeping very high up that far flank, but Maguire running through with the ball. Now he finds Stephen Conway, I think that is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's correct.
Good turnover by Australia.
Yeah, noticing that in both games, the ladies and the men's, the individual 1 versus 1 battles have been quite important, especially in the strikers line. 1 versus 1 is very important. Both for an attacker who get his confidence going, and defender getting his confidence going by getting that physical tackle in there and making the turnover.
So I see Santorini, Greece going for Connor Holland there. Brian Haig, time to take the series late. Good luck to the SA team. Brian Haig, just to tell everyone who Brian Haig is, former South African umpires manager of renown, the groomer of many of some of these umpires on the field tonight, including my compatriot in the combox, Mr. Jethro Eustace.
Yeah, I got to say, I had a chat to him last night about it, and I think he said he was very excited to see how this game goes and how it ends up. He's all the way in Canada there. Yeah, Mark Bechet, sad to be missing Andrew Drew. I agree with you, Besh, top player and agree, top leader. I think he'll be sorely missed on the pitch tonight.
Thanks for that, Mark Bechet. Mark Bechet, in fact, a former selector of the South African schools teams and a long-time guru in South African schools hockey.
Gabriel Murray just giving a shout out there to Pete Jarvis. Jarvis scored a couple of goals in the first game and a goal in the second game, I think so. So yeah, let's see if he can continue that form.
So Peter Jarvis and one or two other players from the South African team actually heading off on Friday to Algiers for the Youth African Games, where they've been selected for the South African Fives youth team. It'll be interesting to see how Jarvis fares in that format of the game. I think he's going to relish the space, the time, the opportunity to shoot from almost anywhere in his own half. You know, a really exciting game, Fives.
Yeah, I look at the man. He's got broad shoulders. He's quite a nice, tall, strong man, and he knows where the goals are, and he puts everything in it. With the goals he scored already, you can see it. Strong player, strong forward, and I think he will do well in that Fives format. Just as you're talking there, Carl Willett, obviously the leader for the Australians tonight, had a nice attack down the right hand side all the way into D, failed to win the penalty corner, but I think his attacking prowess going forward is going to determine how the Aussies go.
Right, here goes McDonald forward for Australia. He finds Elias Fernandez, who looks like he'll take that sideline hit. No, Willett it is. Bit of a fumble from Sam Bell.
Yeah, just recomposing himself, getting the ball to centre back. Australia now in the back three, stretching their outside backs, just testing their direct ball here. Here we go. Carl Willett again, brilliant. Penalty corner, bad tackle coming back from the centre forward. Australian get their first penalty corner of the match. Again, highly effective man, Carl Willett, getting involved very early on here, making those attacking plays effective for Australia.
Right, so the early pressure going to the Australians in the Australian gold here this evening. The South Africans playing in the green strip. That'll be Craig Murray on the injection spot now, ready to put it in for South Africa. Sorry, Australia. Oh, quality finish from Carl Willett. What a flick, Jethro.
See, he's been involved in the last three plays for Australia, and with the captain's armband leading from the front, as they say. I think when you look at this again, he gone high left. As we look at the goals, keeper's right. He's flicked it with some pace, and I think it just beat Tane Burt there, just with the pace and not necessarily where the angle was.
Right, so the feature of the last two games have been a quick comeback from the opposition. We just have a look again at this penalty corner.
Sorry, a lie. Seatley in goals.
Oh, quality.
Beautiful.
Great placement.
I think, yeah, the speed got Seatley there. I think with the angle with the right glove coming across might have been just a little bit too much to ask for him. I think if he tried to stand up tall and use the right glove, it might have been a bit more easier for him. But at the end of the day, Carl Willett, great flick off the top. He's been immense again in this first 5 minutes for Australia.
So, will we see the same pattern that we've seen the last two games, which would then mean quite a quick reply from South Africa to this goal? Pressure from Australia. That's Joshua Brooks on the ball. Gets the reverse stick away. Goal! Great upright reverse stick from Josh Brooks. It's 2-0. Suddenly, the tide has turned.
Yeah, finally, I think the pressure from Australia has come to the fore here. I think a missed trap there from an overhead. We'll have to see who that was from. Gave the opportunity for a free strike. Good first save by Seatley. But unfortunately, Joshua Brooks to receive the rebound and clearly push it under the goalkeeper's legs.
Good awareness there from Josh Brooks. The upright hit, I must say, not the best keeping there from Sishle Nkongo. He'll be disappointed with himself letting that one go through the pads.
Yeah, I was just a little also disappointed there with Peterson. Tevin, he was in the wrong space when rushing to get to that 1v1 defense. I think you've got to keep the guy on the baseline, and if he scores from baseline, we can really look at the goalkeeper, but he's given the chance for the striker to get an upright reverse at a better angle, and maybe that's led to the goal.
So Lamile Esbach, watching all the way from USA, welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. I suppose, Jet, the common coaching cliche goes, the 5 minutes after a goal, really important. And, you know, as the team that's conceded, you want to maybe try and penetrate in the first 5. But for the team that's just scored the goal, to be able to go 2-0 up inside that golden 5 minutes, well done, Australia.
Well done, Australia, for sure, and I think it's a typical mentality for them. I think they like scoring goals, and they like the energy and the dynamic effort that they've put through. I think it's come through in this first 10 minutes of this half. I think we'd like to see South Africa just take a little bit more control, ease themselves into the game, and maybe when they get their chance, they can get on the scoreboard.
Right, some social media feeds coming there in support again of Nathan Zinner, our favourite backyard cricketer from Australia. Please keep your feeds coming. We'd love to interact with you live. Let us know where you are, where you're watching from. I must admit, Jed, I've been really amazed. This is how far the coverage of this game has reached, literally to almost all 4 corners of the globe. In fact, if someone's watching in Asia, could you please let us know, because I think it's the last untouched place.
It's incredible. I actually was speaking to a couple of Australian parents earlier, and they were saying with all the support back home, they've been very, very happy with the commentary and the coverage that we've given it. They didn't expect it to be as of high standard as it has been. We thank to School Sport Live for all the efforts that they put in. I think it's been pretty amazing, I have to say so myself.
Right, here comes Australia now. Sam Bell in possession. He releases Willow. Idris Abdullah.
Posthumous has been pretty incredible for the South African team. His strength at right half, his vision, his speed, and also the drag flick has been something to watch, actually, to be honest. I would like to see Cody get involved in the game here. It just seems like the Australians have figured that outletting option out there, so maybe just blocking him out so he doesn't get the ball too much in this first 10 minutes. But here we see Marvin Simon getting some nice stick work going for us, right in front of us, actually. Umpire deeming that it went over the baseline before.
Yeah, so Cody Posthumous, another one of these South African players who will be heading in the Fives team to Algiers in just a few days' time. And it's going to be interesting, Jethro, how much of an effect, because I think there are about 4 or 5 players, if just memory serves me correct, in the South African under-18 team who are going to Algiers. You know, to be able to have this, even though it's a different format of the game, as sort of experience literally going into another major international event, it's going to be huge.
No, I think you got your point is correct there. I think what's nice about it is an international series going into a world qualifying event, regardless the format's changing. I spoke about this with Cindy last night about indoor and outdoor being much of a similar sport, and the skill sets that work hand in hand. And yes, this is open play. You can score from anywhere in 5s, and your connection is with 5 players. So I think your call is correct. But what's nice and exciting to see is that the players are getting international matches against probably a very good quality nation. Here we go. We see attack. Good skills in the baseline there by Abdullah. Unfortunately, Christopher just seeing as the umpire, seeing that just being dangerous and giving the free hit to the Australians. Yeah, just coming back to the point, I think in any international game leading into a qualifying tournament, let alone the type of format you're playing, will lead to some experience gain and obviously being prepared for that tournament.
So there is Doan on the field, not with the captain's armband this evening.
Gareth Otter, yes, I just saw him post the second post here. Obviously he has a cousin that plays in the team here, Old Hubbard. It's exciting to see that he's supporting all the way from South Africa. I think he's in Port Elizabeth, but get me wrong, he's supporting the Aussies today.
So Min Nguyen coming to us from Hove, UK. Good luck to my nephew Mickey and the boys. Thanks, Min, for joining us on the YouTube stream. So it'll be interesting to see how, with 21 minutes to go, just how the South African side comes back in this game. I certainly, from a coaching perspective, would be wanting to say we've at least got to get one back before the halftime break, just to keep the momentum there, just to keep within sort of shout of getting a result out of this game.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think the 2-0 trap, as they refer to, is a real thing. As most people know, if you have that advantage of 2 goals and you concede, the temptation for the team that's just scored their goal to come back is that they're on the front foot and they could actually get more of a hold on the game and maybe even come back at 2-2. So I think your call is perfect there, Swatto. If South Africa can get a goal before half time, they'll feel like they're in it, and in for it for the long haul.
So Australia coming forward now with Craig Murray. He looks for Willow, doesn't find his man. Even van der Merwe cleans up, but Willow's been released. He's got space in the circle, and a shot goes just over the top of the crossbar. Good pressure from keeper Sishle Nkongo.
I think Carl Willett there was a bit ambitious by taking it towards the baseline. I think obviously the front shot straight slap here was a bit of a ambitious attempt, but I think his angle where he was trying to work with and getting over the keeper definitely was something that he was trying to get, but failed to get it correctly. I think maybe if he went on the reverse stick with an open goal, might have been a bit easier option there. But again, here we go, Carl Willett, captain, getting involved in this game.
Yeah, he was a really dominant presence for the Australians last night, and straight into within the first 10 minutes of this game, he's already making his presence felt. That's Mapamulo, who drops it out to van der Merwe, who now is going to send around the back to Maguire, looking forward for his options. Campbell's dropped out of midfield, provided a bit of an option forward. This looks positive. Finds Abdullah, but no one home on the little deflection touch through.
Yeah, just to mention old Cody Posthumus there again. He's been literally man-marked at right half. Very good and very well played by Australia. I think they see the threat that he gives to this game. And maybe South Africa need to take a little bit of note out of that, the way the Aussies are doing it. I think Carl Willett needs to be a man that needs to be marked quite tightly by the South Africans if they want to keep this game a little bit closer.
Yeah, let's just watch here as Australia comes forward. Maguire picks up, looking to clear for South Africa. He's got 2 Australian defenders right on him there, but well out. Manages to find Marvin Simons. Jed, I 100% agree with your last comment, and I've said it again, last night while we were calling this game. My one criticism of Team Australia was just their inability to close down those outside halves for South Africa.
It's again another turnover in midfield. I think if South Africa are going to play their midfield options, they need to use the right pass, or the person receiving it needs to be aware of where the attackers are coming from to turn over the ball. I think pre-scanning is essential when you're in midfield. Some of the South African midfielders that I played with know this very well, and I think if our boys need to catch a wake up here, the under-17 boys, they need to learn that quite sharply, that if you open receive in midfield, you'll get turned over.
So it'll be interesting to see, Jet, how this goes. If Australia do successfully sort of just close down the likes of Peterson this evening, close down the likes of Posthumus, how South Africa choose to react to that, and knowing again Devin van der Merwe and his coaching styles quite well, Devin likes playing very direct, he likes playing through the midfield, so it's something that he as a coach is confident with. It's something that he definitely would have drilled in these boys in their camp before this, so it'll be interesting to see the South African response. Agreed.
I'd like to see a back 3 with 2 blockers, outside midfielders getting a little bit high and wide. I think that might create the more passing angles that might be a little bit difficult for Australia to manage. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Devin van der Merwe, he's got a lot of plans and ways to deal with the pressure that the Australians are giving us at the moment. Here again, direct ball from Australia. I think it's epic that they're playing a very forward game tonight, and I think that's what's been 2-0 up at 17 minutes played.
So Heino is saying good luck to the SA boys there from the Inland Under-16 team. To let everyone else around the world know, that's the KZN Inland team. Heino is a Hilton College boy, shouting out to his schoolmate Subi Muguera in this team. And just for interest's sake, that very KZN Inland team that just sent that note are in the Under-16 boys final tomorrow against Southern Gauteng. So Heino, to you and your teammates, good luck to you guys as well.
Yeah, I think exciting day tomorrow for the final of the Under-16 tournament. Both guys and girls reward is on offer there for the finalists and the third and fourth playoff. And yes, big day for the Under-16s tomorrow.
Yeah, and so that boys final, as I was saying, KZN Inland and Southern Gauteng. The girls is KZN Coastal versus Eastern Province. So, you know, good luck to all 4 of those teams playing in the Under-16 regional finals tomorrow. Sorry, the national finals. And again, Jet, sorry, I'm a local man, so I'm going to bring it home. But, you know, in the Under-18 tournament just over 10 days ago, it was a KZN Coastal versus KZN Inland final. Tomorrow we have a KZN Inland boys team in the final and a KZN Coastal girls team in the final. So, you know, hats off to all of the hockey schools and the hockey role players in KwaZulu-Natal. It's a great advert for what's going on in this province for the game.
Well, I live around this area, so yeah, I agree with you fully. I think lots of good coaches, lots of good players. I think everything is working in the right channels at the moment. A couple of years ago, Western Province were in that position, so I think it's a good time for Natal hockey.
There's Krenesan Mudley on screen, the South African boys' assistant coach. So we've been speaking quite a bit, Jethro, about the boys who are in the South African Under-18 team on field at the moment, going to the Youth African Games, which is the Youth Olympic qualifiers in the Fives tournament. And just out of interest, Tane Bird, who's one of the South African goalkeepers here, Jared Campbell, Peter Jarvis, Luke Winford, Cody Posthumus, and Pumi Mapamulo. That's 5 of these boys on the field at the moment. Will be going to Algiers in just a day or two's time. In fact, they leave on Friday. And I think, you know, I'm going to be holding my thumbs for them, and I'm going to be quite positive with good results, just on the basis of what they've gained from the last 3 nights and the momentum that that'll take, along with Coach Sishile Ntuli, also from KZN, ironically, who will be going forward to the Youth African Games.
Yeah, and an interesting note, the Australian teams, both of them went down to Papua New Guinea to qualify for their version of the Fives, and both teams have qualified for the Youth Olympics there. And as far as I understand, both players from the guys and girls also represented in the Fives tournament or playing in this tournament at the moment, or this series at the moment. So, yeah, very good experience and great to have our stars representing both formats.
So a bit of a double turn over there in midfield. Australia come out of the ball. This is Josh Brooks trying to win possession. Neil Roth defending him quite tightly. Josh Findlay is also in there for South Africa. Roth, however, has one back position, but that's been turned over again by Brooks. He comes into the circle for Australia. Wins the free hit just outside.
Nice hard player, Josh Brooks. Obviously scoring that first goal for Australia. Now getting heavily involved, or scoring one of the goals, sorry, for Australia. Now getting heavily involved in the game as well. Showing his physical presence. But interesting skill sets to get out the defence there. I think maybe not as conventional as defenders should be, but nonetheless defending it out the circle. Here we go, attack down the right-hand side. Luke Winford, penalty corner. Well done, Luke Winford. I think that was a great attempt. 1-1 versus 1 skills. Maybe got a little bit lucky with the jab tackle that came through, and he won a penalty corner for South Africa. This is the advantage that South Africa need to get back into this game, and time to use their penalty corner weapons. We've seen Cody Posthumus use a great flick the other night, and Peter Jarvis on the top. Will they use those straight strikes, or will they use their variation options that they've maybe been holding out for this big night?
Yeah, so critical time now with 12 minutes inside the first half left for South Africa to pull one back here. We said just now getting at least one back would be key for South Africa in this half.
I think it's perfect time for it. I think it might even excite the crowd a little bit more. Here we go, push trap. Great flick again, Cody Posthumus. Top right-hand corner. drag flicking specialist at the moment. I think that flick is his trademark in the top right-hand corner as you look at the goals. Top left for the goalkeeper. I think the postman was running a little bit scared there, and he didn't want to stay and try and give his goalkeeper the best option for saving it. Great goal, Cody.
Cometh the man, cometh the hour. Cody Posthumus, he has stood up every single time his team has required him to, and here we go, as we can see on this replay. Great positioning across the keeper, just shaping that flick. And another super finish to get his boys right back in this game here in the first half.
No, exciting to see, and exactly what we called Swado. Maybe I was just being a bit cheeky on the postman there. I think he actually, Josh Brooks on the post there, just got beaten with pace. I think, unfortunately, yeah, great flick. Unfortunate there. I think tough height to flick, try save if you're on the post. But yeah, good pace from Cody Posthumus. South Africa back in at 2-1.
So I've just noticed here from our commentary position, Jethro, just down there is Cody Posthumus's mom, Chantel Birdie, as she's known, former Springbok herself. And she was in prime position to watch her boy pull South Africa one back into this game.
Yeah, great play here by Abdullah, trying to connect with Peter Jarvis in the midfield. I mean, sorry, in the forward play. He seemed to be free as the ball was getting played in. South Africa seemed to be back in this game now. All of a sudden, the table has turned where Australia took control of the first 15 minutes. Just with the exciting play there, I think Luke Winford winning the penalty corner, getting Posthumus to get his chance to flick and score for South Africa now has given us the chance to apply the pressure on the Australians. Ivan van der Merwe being cool, calm, composed. Quite a nice player coming out of Paul Roos.
Lucky Luke Winford Idris Abdullah not quite being able to pick up there. This is Michael Doan now on the ball. Drops out for Australia to rebuild.
I'm starting to like what I see with the South African team. Their man-to-man defense and their man-to-man markings are increased. I think with maybe a bit of confidence by scoring a goal, they've decided to show a little bit more energy, which is exciting to see. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a 1-versus-1 contest happening here now, and I think if the South Africans are up for it, they'll definitely get the one over the Australians. Just a bit of a stick check there. Kyle Willett. James Dawson, thanks for the comment. Kevin Anderson came from 2 sets down to beat Roger Federer. And South Africa, I agree with you, South Africa are 2 goals down, and hopefully the same voodoo happens for the opposition.
Susan Omand, so proud of our friend Peter Jarvis for making the team, and for the Fives team going to Algeria. Yeah, we're super excited for the young man as well. In fact, here is Peter Jarvis on the ball now. He finds Josh Finlay, looking to make a circle entry, doesn't quite find a connection. Australia managed to clear out, but it's picked up by Van der Merwe. He finds Maguire now, playing through back to Van der Merwe. An opportunity for Posthumus to come out here. Well manipulated there by Posthumus. Not quite finding Luke Winford.
Luke Winford made a great lead there around the defender. Defender was watching the player, not the ball. And sort of got in front of him. If there was a better trap and receive, I think Winford could have had an easy shot there. Unfortunately not. I think the ball was bouncing. I think he has a first card. Josh Finlay maybe getting a little bit too aggressive in the tackle there. Kyle Willett using, I think, a little bit of experience that he's gained to win a free hit and obviously get a card there. Well played. So South Africa down to 10 players. Australia going to capitalise, I believe, with an outside backs here. Instead, they're keeping composed and keeping the back four structure, waiting for the gap. Michael Doan plays the ball down the line. Seems a little bit of an ambitious pass there, but yet again, he's back on the ball. Will he go direct or will he keep the ball? Ball's composed at the moment for the Australians. They're looking at trying to build up play here while the South Africans sit deep in their final quarter.
Jarvis with a turnover now, breaks through the midfield. Doesn't quite get the outcome, although a loose ball is picked up by Stephen Conway. He gets the hit.
Looks like Ivan van der Merwe there got a ball. Or was that Peter Jarvis? Peter Jarvis got a stick in the back. It seems like he's feeling it a little bit. South African guys are strong boys, so he'll definitely be up for it and back on the pitch for the extra couple of minutes here he's in.
So this is Posthumous now for South Africa. A bit of a tricky ball. Van der Merwe does well to keep it, but doesn't keep possession. Looks like Craig
Marais, I felt like he needed to be a bit more composed and controlled on that ball, maybe win a free hit. Yet he turned over the ball, but the Aussies have got the ball back again here.
Miles Davis winning the hit inside the 23 here. Australia in a bit of a commanding position. They look to build. Good ball through to Doan. Great pick up there. Is that Carl Willow? And there's a goal. Bit of a scrap. Didn't see who had the final touch there, but if Australia have put it in, it's 3-1 now.
There's your man again, Carl Willett. Michael Doan, seeing him free in the D. Great pass there. Good skills by Kai. Second phase, brilliant here by Australia. Typical Australian goal there. If they take the first shot and it gets saved, there's about 3 or 4 men around the keeper to try and finish it off.
So that was Caleb Christensen, the finisher for Australia. Did really good there, and just in terms of positioning off the keeper. And Carl Willett again, as you said, forcing the save from the keeper, and Christensen on hand to bury it. Australia 3-1. A very different game from a scoreline point of view to what we've seen the last 2 nights. And well, let's see how things pan out. Again, South Africa have 5 minutes to potentially get something in here before half-time, just to keep this game level and to keep themselves in sniffing distance. Campbell picks up in the midfield. He rolls out to Posthumous. Volstrom's leading wide, opens up the space for Posthumous to go into. Good work. Conway not able to receive. Turnover,
again,
Miles Davis.
Again, just seeing Posthumous run with the ball there. The Australians are very nervous of what his abilities are, so they stood off there and waited for him to pass it rather than his elimination skills. So well played again from the Australians, figuring out the strength of South Africa is down the right-hand side and giving Cody middle ball opportunity. Marvin Simons just being a little bit isolated here. He's going to use his skills, as he's renowned for. Blue College man there from Southern Gauteng.
I think the one thing that's standing out for me, Jethro, in this first half so far, is that even at turnover, the Australians are retreating quickly. They're getting numbers behind the ball. There just seems to be an urgency about them tonight that I haven't seen in the last 2 nights, and perhaps that's having a result in the turning of the tide.
Yes, and just to add a little bit of international, say the men's senior side, Australia obviously did very well in the Commonwealth Games. Men's side winning it, ladies side winning silver, if I'm not mistaken. But just the way of watching the men's side play, they were a proper hunting unit, if we call it like that. If there was a turnover, they would attack with numbers. If they lose the ball, they would have 3 or 4 guys, 5 guys running back to get them the defensive principles in line. It seemed like a far post miss there from Josh Brooks. Great ball there, again, coming from the right-hand side. Australia seem on the ascendancy here again.
Yeah, there certainly seems to be a little bit more coming from this Australian side tonight. Certainly we're making their fans happy. Turnover again there. South Africa just trying to play some slightly longer balls tonight. Doesn't seem to be working again. They have that comfort and ease playing out wide in the last few nights, using Peterson, using Posthumous. Didn't seem that they've quite got the momentum they were looking for in that same structure. But here comes Campbell now in a really good run for South Africa.
Yeah, and it's a bit sad to see Campbell run quite nice and freely there. I think what was nice is he kept the ball away from the defender, but he didn't have any other South Africans. We need Stephen Conway and Peter Jarvis and Marvin Simons just trying to lead a little bit towards him so that we can create a little bit more 1-2 passes rather than being isolated and dribble and use your 1 versus 1 elimination skills. I think the Australians are picking up on that, and South Africa is obviously very good at their 1 versus 1 elimination skills, but Australians are giving their 3 to 4 players. Great ball here, Jared. Oh, great ball, but
yeah, that was a proper ball in by Subi Mugwera finding Campbell. Really good vision in the pass line there.
Yeah, and I think there's your long passes that have been played by South Africa. I think that's the exciting play that they're trying to get going forward. But if you're getting so many turnovers, you might have to reconsider and look at the best options. But that was definitely a good option because they were a little bit high up the field. Those long balls into space will beat the defender, which means we'll get our chances in the circle. Maybe a better 1 versus 1 in the circle rather than 1 versus 1 over the 25.
Yeah, so here's South Africa building now with Van der Merwe. Really troubled there by the Australians. Plays the 1-2 with Campbell. Campbell comes back into the space. In a little bit of trouble here. He's going to have to do some work. Does well. Finds Bradford. Looking to build now through Maguera, who's playing Neil Roth in that outside flank. As you can said earlier, Jethro, the Australians definitely going with a little bit of a zonal press here. There's number 9, Miles Davis, hanging back quite high to try and turn over. Good overhead, though. Let's see what becomes of it. David Hubbard picking up quite easily. Here's Doan on the ball now for Australia. Goes outside to find Bell. Good lead by Carl Willett.
Colin Walker trying to
play. Yeah,
play.
that's Colin Walker, sorry.
Yeah, Colin Walker applying pressure here on the outside. Aussies are stepping higher. Good turnover. Colin Walker. And again, Colin Walker trying to go 1 versus 1, losing out there this time. Swatter, the series has been so incredibly viewed and watched around the world, and even attended at the venue. Do you think we'll see the opportunity of seeing one of these things, or these series again in the future? Obviously, 2-year period at teams seems to be happening. Australia tend to come out to South Africa, but do you think we can get some more?
Yeah, so Jet, I mean, I think obviously the focus in terms of this particular series will shift to 2020. And no doubt South African schools hockey will look to emulate and improve on what has been a better series than what we had 2 years ago in Pretoria. Let's just watch here, a bit of pressure inside the circle. South Africa coming out through Neil Roth, a little bit of breathing space. So I think so, Jet. You know, the Australians have made the commitment. Some people have said, well, why don't Australia come out every year? They actually rotate on this system. So next year they'll go to Europe. That's the pattern that School Sport Australia do. You know, the big question is, I said it to someone the other day, is, you know, South African schools probably only just being able to get into the position where maybe an outbound tour is a potential opportunity. And of course then finding an opposition to come into South Africa in the alternate year for the Australians is something that SA Schools Hockey have spent a lot of time looking at. We'll just see how things go. Anyway, into half-time here. The Hooters just gone 3-1 to Australia. They lead with a 2-goal margin over the South Africans.
Yeah, I think an exciting half there. I think the Australians, as you said, Swatto, came out with a bit more energy, a bit more pressure. But yeah, it's just the energy we wanted after like a final type format tonight. I think both teams are up for it. Aussie slightly ahead, and yeah, we need to see a little bit more from the South Africans. Maybe the structure needs to change and get Posthumus on the ball a little bit more, and maybe if he has to go centre back or even into midfield just to make that attacking option. I think that's what we'll be excited to see. Yeah, we got AJ down on the field. He's got an interview for us with 3 Australian girls.
Right, we are in the field. It is about 9 minutes to go in this halftime. It's 3-1 to Australia. But before we get to that, I've got 3 Australians with me. Gracie, you're probably not too happy hearing that Roger Federer lost to South Africa now.
Oh, nah, not that happy, but you know, can't help something sometimes.
Gracie, let's just chat about future plans for you after hockey, personal hockey, sporting plans. Any idea what you have that now?
Would like to make it as far as I can in hockey. Obviously try and play in the AHL back in Australia, and also probably travel Europe and to widen my hockey experiences there.
Well, you can hear there's some really nice future plans there. Annika, one of your life goals is to juggle.
Yeah.
And then your second goal is to beat Queensland. How many times have you actually beaten Queensland?
Well, just recently we won our Australian national titles, which was amazing. But before that, I have 4 silver medals to losing to Queensland in the final. So it was a great goal to achieve, actually.
So hopefully you're going to have some more gold medals beating Queensland in that final.
Yeah.
Just let's quickly chat about the week that you've had here. You spent some time in Cape Town, you spent up here. The goals that personal goals that you've set yourself, have you achieved them? Have you not? What else have you learned from the time that you've been here?
Yeah, definitely. Coming into the trip, I was pretty open to what was going to happen. I didn't really have many expectations, but it's definitely surpassed anything that I thought would happen or could happen, and I've made some beautiful friends here, and we've had great experiences on the field. I was hoping to broaden my game and get better in my striker role, and I think I've achieved that. And then definitely off the field, the culture here, the people of South Africa are so friendly and so welcoming, and their hospitality. It's just been such an amazing experience.
Well, I'm glad you've had a nice time in a really, really awesome country. Grace Young, we've mentioned your name I don't know how many times through all the games. You're in that midfield just running around. Ellen Hoog is one of your top players. What are some of the things that you take from her as one of the top Dutch players?
Yeah, I just think her role in all her teams, she's got really good vision, and her controlling the ball, like her skills are amazing, and I just aspire to be almost as good as her.
And I understand that you're going to be travelling to Argentina soon with the Hockey 5 side. Coming from a tournament like this, what do you take from that going into that tournament?
Every country is unpredictable. Like, you never know what you're going to get. Like with the South African team, like, we weren't expecting their strength and speed, so just, I don't know, expecting anything from any team and just being ready to go out hard.
And I have no doubt that when you do play against the South Africans in Argentina, if they do qualify, that you'll be up against them, and you'll probably have a little bit more expectations for when you do play them. So I've got these 3 ladies. Thank you very much, ladies, for coming down. Back to you guys in the commentary box.
Thanks, AJ. Yes, here we are as we watch the keepers. It looks like the replacement keeper's getting a little warm up here. We've got Tane Bird with SA international goalkeeper Richard Curtis getting a little warm up knock up here on the right hand side just below us. Yeah, and there's another player like you mentioned there, Swatto player going to the African Cup qualifier for the fives, the Hockey 5s.
So as we're checking out some replays here, this will be that first goal, no doubt, from Kyle Willott. There he is, lining up in that flick, beating Sicily Congo. That was Australia's first goal. And here came the second, that initial save. Good stick work by Josh Brooks, the upright. Reverse stick hit straight through the legs of Nkongo. That was 2-0 Australia.
Ambitious chance here from Kyle Willett. Like I said, I think if he took it on the reverse stick there with the open net, it probably would have been a little bit better, as the tomahawk, as the Australians call it.
And this one was South Africa's reply from Cody Posthumus. Good flick. That put South Africa in with 2-1, and then it was that man, Caleb Christensen, who grabbed Australia's third and put them into a bit of a commanding position here in this game. That was that near miss by Josh Brooks on the far post. So Australia really have come out with a lot more intent tonight, Jethro, than what we've seen in the last 2 games.
Yeah, intent, energy, waiting for their chance, exploiting mistakes, and making the game go forward with a lot of pace. And I think it's a typical Australian type of hockey. And yes, and if South Africa want to get back into it, they need to minimize their mistakes when they play the ball into midfield, all their long passes over distance. They need to build up, they need to connect with their outside backs. They need to try and make a little bit more happen up front, and maybe apply the pressure in the opponent's circle. As we can see here, the games have been really tight, so the opportunity for South Africa to get back in this game is quite high.
So Jed Snowden on screen there in the Australian goal, getting his warm-up from the trainer.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to a couple of the Australian supporters here, and they just mentioned to me that I think it's his grandfather, if it's Neil Snowden, if I'm not mistaken, or even father. Apologies if I got my details there incorrect, but he did play for Australia back in the day, so the hockey genes are running through the blood there of Ted Snowden.
So there you can see the South African camp, Coach Devin van der Merwe in the middle there. No doubt coming out with a very specific set of instructions in into the second half here. A lot of work to be done by the South Africans, but it only takes one goal, Jet, and you, of course, with 98 caps for South Africa, will understand that better than anyone else.
Yeah, agreed. And what's nice about it is that being a 2-0 trap again, the excitement of getting one goal might even make it that the third goal comes on board, and then there's that 3-3 again that we've been watching for the last 2 nights, and the excitement that would cheer the crowd on would be exciting to get the SA boys back in it. Just for the viewers watching, obviously the qualifier for the African sides happens next week. When is the Youth Olympics in Argentina, I believe, or is it Brazil? Argentina?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos
Aires is the Youth Olympic Games. Jet, the dates escape me exactly, but it's sort of towards the end of October.
Yeah, and it's an exciting tournament, that I think when watching the boys that went the last time with the Cody van Wyks, the Tyson Dendwalas, the exciting talent that came through there, had all got their chances to play for high honours for South Africa. Yeah, I think that's the way forward, and I think the Youth Olympics gives that stepping stone for players to come into the system going forward.
I think any international exposure, in the school's youth setup is really important. And we were talking on the field in one of the interviews during the girls' game, and 2 years ago, the core of this under-18 girls team that's just won the series between Australia with a 3-0 clean sweep tonight. So many of them 2 years ago were involved in a series in Pretoria against Namibia and Zimbabwe, and whilst they might have quite easily won those matches, it's still just the experience, the being in the contest that gains that advantage.
Yeah, I think any time putting on the green and gold of South Africa, you're gaining so much. The goosebumps, the nerves, the excitement, the energy, the tiredness that sometimes you get in an international match definitely gives you that experience that will help you further on.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at just the dominance of Hockey Australia, and I think their men's and women's programs are, they are textbooks for everyone else to learn from. And if you think about it, here's Australia schools every year either going to Europe or coming out to South Africa, regardless of the results, regardless of what's going on. Like you've just said, Jed, it's putting the colours on, it's getting out there and it's playing. And that foundation just gets broader and broader and broader.
See, and I think we're a bit different to that of Europe nations, where South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and even Argentina, if we had to put it, the 4 nations down south in the southern hemisphere are quite far apart. And when you look at the European nations, they just need either a small ferry or a short flight on Ryanair to get them across to play a couple of internationals. So, yeah, we're getting very fortunate with saying the Aussies. Oh, here we go. Aussies are in. Another goal here from Australia. Craig Murray with a reverse stick strike in the bottom left-hand corner.
So I think it was Carl Willett again who set that up on that left-hand baseline. Really good control. We'll just double-check now on the replay whether it was Willett indeed. But there it is. Yep, Willett it is. Picking that ball up on that left-hand baseline. Great control with the reverse stick. And Murray there home to slot the ball on a couple of ball-watching South African defenders. It's 4-1 in favour of Australia, and I think we've seen that that Aussie pride, that Aussie passion come through in this team tonight. All to play for, and they're stepping up.
Yeah, just to actually give them a little bit more credit when it's due. They were here supporting their girls team on the side of the field, cheering Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. For a good 60-70 minutes of that game. Obviously they couldn't be here for the full fixture because they had to do their warm-ups, but they were here shouting for their girls' side all the way. So I think their passion was here before even the game started. So it's exciting to see that they're putting it out here on the pitch and are 4-1 up into the second half here.
So here's Maguire who finds Mapamulo, doesn't keep the ball, although he gets to win it back off a bit of a double advantage there. Mark Bechet coming through on the YouTube stream. Calm heads and smart hockey needed in the second half of SAR to win this series decider. Definitely agree with that comment. But here we go. I think this is Caleb Christensen, one-on-one of the goalkeeper. He gets it across. Elias Fernandez, I think, with the finish. Yes, it is. It's 5-1 to Australia. I think they're starting to run away with this game. 2 goals inside the first 3 minutes of the second half.
Again, typical Aussie hockey. On the counter, mistake from South Africa, quite high. 2 good passes. Craig Murray, great through ball. Yeah, I think Christensen, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Instead of taking himself on the reverse stick, I think he decides to connect. And by connecting, it makes an open goal. Great finish there, Fernandez. Beautiful goal. I think textbook goal if you're looking at a team sport like hockey is. Textbook goal there.
So I'll tell you what, if you're a young player and you're having a look at that slow motion replay of that goal, you will see as Caleb Christensen enters the circle, his eyes go up to meet his compatriot, and the simple, non-selfish ball finds the goal winner there. But South Africa have bounced right back here with a penalty corner, a good overhead into space, not quite so well controlled. Jet at 5-1, it's now becoming critical for South Africa to put the ball in the net here. You've got to take set-piece opportunities when you're 4 goals down.
I think any chance at the moment South Africa needs to put on target, and if it's put on target, it'll create that opportunity of a goal. If we can get a rebound, we're in there for the rebound, and we need to be hungry for the rebound. Yes, but set pieces are actually where we need to capitalize, and here's another one.
Sure, so the flick from Cody Posthumus initially finds the woodwork. Something happened there, not quite sure what it was. But Peter Calder has pointed to the penalty spot for a penalty stroke. Be interesting to see on the replay here.
Yes, just from the actions from what I saw from Peter Calder, he believes that it was a backstick from Australian player. Great flick again from Posthumus, beating everybody. But unsure from that replay, but penalty stroke here.
Either way, good goalkeeping from Jed Snowden. I mean, being there for the second phase. So Cody Posthumus it is here with the penalty flick for South Africa. And it's goalward. 5-2. We said it, Jets. If they had to score, it was now, and they've done it.
Yeah, again, and it's remarkable that Cody Posthumus, with the experience and the composure he has, instead of just putting in the bottom left-hand corners like most penalty strokers take, he goes the sides. I'm going to put it in the top left-hand corner. Good luck, goalkeeper. Try and save this one. 5-2 it is. 5 minutes in the second half. Exciting hockey again, and it's unbelievable to watch. The Australians are in charge, but with South Africa getting that second goal brings them back into this game. Maybe a little bit of a big ask for South Africa, but again, as the series panned out, it's definitely going to be a hotly contested match. This.
Yeah, so certainly a bit of resurgence here. South Africa coming back. The board will be happy with this one. That's what we like to see from our South Africans. Maguire now receiving inside his own half. He's going to double play again with Van der Merwe, just looking for options higher up. Again, Peterson is much better closed down tonight than he has been in the last 2 nights. Elias Fernandez on the press just doing better work there. But Maguire now with a little bit of space down that right-hand side. Speculative ball forward. It's kept in by Peter Jarvis. And another penalty stroke.
Peter Jarvis did very well there. Just to add the composure and the strength that he had, just to be patient and relax and wait for the defender to make the mistake, which he did indeed. He rushed it. He took the player out, and another penalty stroke. Peter Calder has given a yellow card there as well to that player. So South Africa go with an extra man for the next 5 minutes and a penalty stroke. Yeah, a little bit excited play from the defender there, Atkinson. I think repeat from Cody Posthumus, not shy to test that top net in the top left. That's 3. That's a hat-trick for Cody Posthumus, bringing South Africa a break into it. Sorry, Swato.
I tell you what, everyone, if you've just tuned in, you're not watching a replay. That was Cody Posthumus netting his 3rd goal and his 2nd penalty flick, literally probably in as many minutes, to put South Africa right back in this game at 5-3. So some people, I noticed the Australians protesting that penalty stroke a lot. But I spoke about this with AJ last night. There has been a big move in hockey, especially in the youth division. And I heard the umpires briefing at the beginning of this series. And it's happening in FIH briefings as well. If players are on the ground and they're making scenarios dangerous, it's being penalised very harshly by umpires. And I think it's the right thing, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, and I think if we had to watch the Commonwealth Games, South Africa played against, I think it was Canada, it was Canada. Canada, we needed to score a couple of goals. Penalty corner was taken where the drag flicker used the slider option where Tim Drummond was sliding on the far post. Yes, he was sliding. Yes, he deflected it. Yes, it went in the goals, but he did take out a defender, and that is a free hit against the striker. So I think that rule is adequately blown, and yes, danger. We need to protect our players on the field, and if you're going off your feet and you take the player or even to touch the player, it needs to be penalised.
Certainly, and I think, one can't argue the umpires have been consistent in that in this series. And again, I say, I was present at the umpires briefing with both teams' management, and it's something that the umpires manager Gary Simmons specifically spoke about in his briefing. So hats off to the umpires for ensuring consistency there.
Yeah, and in that, it's made the game exciting again. 5-3, that 2-0 trap. Coming back into the 4 here, and 8 minutes played in this first half. We've seen 3 cracking goals, and the excitement is here. And I think this game is going to get heated up over the next 30 minutes. Great overhead here. Josh Brooks, good receive.
Dangerous ball in here. Tevin Peterson struggling to control it, but he does get it away. It's picked up by Australia, though. Zinner going forward.
Zinner was very lucky there. I think he ran into 4 South Africans, but at the end of the day, the umpires deemed it as a foot or bad tackle. So the free hit will be taken on the top of the D, actually.
So Australians appealing for 5. Umpire Chris Gerber not interested in that. So Maguire now gets the ball in the outside to find a little bit of breathing space for South Africa. He does well to keep it inside. 1-2 with Marvin Simons. There's that handwork we've been seeing all series long. Umpire Gerber not interested in that either. So the Australian knows that I think that was Craig Murray. He knew it was a bad tackle. He ran straight off the field there. Right, Van der Merwe now in position.
What we don't realize here is South Africa are up 2 players, so we need to capitalise. We need to maybe be a bit more composed and not go so direct so early on. Yet we have got the ball in the circle here, but I think we need to capitalise on the extra man or extra 2 men by utilising the back 4 high outside
Camera
wide
7
midfielders and maybe 3 guys or 4 guys in the D. Oh, what an overhead. Fernandez.
No, I think that's Colin Walker, that.
Yeah, these guys with these long hairdos all testing us out here, I think. But yeah, I think that was a cracking overhead all the way through. Colin Walker deciding to shoot a high front stick shot. Maybe if he played it towards the goalkeeper, he had an attack on the far post for the far post rebound or tap in.
So South Africa finding good space here with the 2 Australian players off the field. This is Campbell now. Goes forward, plays the 1-2 with Simons. Still in possession, Simons. Goes into the circle. Good defending by Australia.
There we go with that sliding player again. This time Marvin Simons avoided him, so play on, well blown there by the umpires. Yeah, the umpires are being tested here now, and I think their experience needs to come out to the fore here. Both teams have been a little bit aggressive and a little bit hard on tackles, so as long as it's composed and fairly blown, this game will be a very good game for the next 20-25 minutes.
It's good to see umpire Chris Gerber on the near side to us here, Jethro blowing. I remember Chris blew one of the his first final in Potchefstroom in 2009 at an under-16 tournament. I happened to be the coach there. And it's great to see also the way umpires come through the ranks. I mean, Chris Gerber, one of the rising stars here in South African hockey on the technical panel. He's had his fair share of opportunities going forward, and great to see him taking control of a game like this.
Yeah, fully agree. I've had the opportunity to umpire with him, even though I've left my umpiring whistle alone for the last 5-6 years. Watching Chris come up over the ranks for the last 4 or 5 years, incredible. Yeah, and he's getting his opportunity here with a nice testing game here with South Africa and Australia in a tie-break game here, all to play for, and it will be testing him to the full.
So South Africa certainly enjoying the better of the chances in the last 5 minutes, clearly using that opportunity with those, with the power play with the Australians in the sin bin. Bradford picks up here now a bit of a loose ball. He plays Campbell, who's got space. He's got Luke Winford opening up, but Campbell's gone the other side, still in possession.
Great ball by Campbell into the circle. Abdullah just played a little bit of raised ball there. I think if he just kept that aerial skill a little bit lower, or even kept it on his stick, it puts the pressure on the defender, and maybe we get that penalty corner shot again.
Josh Brooks dispossessed by Van der Merwe. Bradford now with some silky skills coming out the back. Advantage being played. I thought there was a bit of contact in that second tackle from Brooks. This is Rath now to his Polaris teammate Van der Merwe.
We just show the passion between two sides in this game at the moment. Yes, oh, here we go. Great. Oh, what a chance by South Africa there. I think that was Peter Jarvis with the deflection back in for Marvin Simons to try and play an open net. Maybe he was just not anticipating that extra play and was just put behind the ball and only had a cute angle to play.
What a super pattern of play here. The touch from Abdullah, the deflection from Jarvis. Marvin Simons just quite not being able to get that one under control, hitting the side net. But that was a quality piece of build-up from the South Africans.
Yeah, we give the credit where credit's due. A great long ball, great first-time deflection, putting the Australians under pressure. Craig Murray just rushing that pass and giving it back to South Africa. Tevin Peterson, Craig Murray coming back into it, recovering from his mistake. And he's going forward again. Yeah, if they can look for him running into the D here, it might be a good chance for Australia.
Good build up there from Doan, who tried to find Fernandez, but again, the rock of South Africa, Ivan van der Merwe, being more than equal to the task in the defence, wins the free hit for South Africa, who now look to go forward through Bradford and Posthumus on the outside. There goes Posthumus. He's got his motorbike engine revving up, and he just keeps going like he has been for the last 2 nights. Great
a little bit of
threatening
a
run.
Hugh Bladen commentary there, Swatto.
I don't watch much rugby, Jet.
Direct ball there, Tevin Peterson getting through only enough to the Australians to clear it out. Recycled ball here. South Africa quite high in the Australian half. Australians are defending quite deep. We've got a nice back four going here. If they can try and move and shift the Australians just a little bit around, they might create their passing angle into the circle. They just need a little bit more control and composure, though. It seems like missed traps and a couple of bad slow passes are allowing the Australians to set up for, there we go, exactly what I thought was going to happen. Set up for a counter and a turnover. Michael Doan on the ball here, protecting the ball very well. Good defense there by Rath.
South Africa building now through Peterson.
Oh, great
it's
ball.
A loose ball.
Oh, unlucky Peter Jarvis.
Jarvis just not quite being able to control that ball. It would have put him one-on-one of the keeper, and I'm telling you now, I would have backed him one-on-one against the keeper.
I'm excited at the moment because I'm seeing these passing options that South Africa are giving and making at the moment. It's definitely getting through and affecting the Australians' press line and defensive marking lines. A little bit 6s and 7s Australians at the moment with our direct play. And maybe that's causing the opportunity for us to maybe just get our options, get our players in the ball that we want, and make the opportunity count. It's been an interesting 15 minutes of play in the second half here. Quite a lot of goals. Now all of a sudden it seems like the game is just consolidating a little bit with both teams, maybe making a few mistakes, but also looking after the ball a little bit longer.
Doan now for Australia. Holds up the ball under pressure from Abdullah. Doesn't quite come away with it. Good pick up by Craig Marais, who's attacking into the 23. He's got space ahead of him, loses the ball. Bradford clears for the side hit for Australia.
Just on a personal note, Craig Marais, nickname is Junior, as his fellow players call him. He's from Victoria, the state in Australia, Brighton Grammar School. Just a shout out to them. His most admired sportsman is Brendan McCullum, a New Zealand cricketer.
Yeah, a good player is Craig Marais. Oh, Marvin Simons, we see in that replay coming oh so close to making it 5-4 for South Africa. Oh, great bit of work there by Miles Davis. Craig Marais in possession, goes to the backstick shot. Good save by Bird. Campbell's able to pick it up deep in South African territory. Posthumous will not outchuck an overhead. There it comes. Just to give South Africa a bit of breathing space. Australia are under it.
Yeah, I was going to say with the Australians doing quite well in this period, we don't need loose passes or loose overheads where we lose possession and Australia can be on the counter, because their counter is quite deadly and our setup will be a bit misjointed.
So this
Michael
is Doan wins
the
penalty corner. Yeah, great bit of stick work there on that left-hand baseline as he entered. Here's that work by Miles Davis. Really good positioning, just not quite finding the man on that 45-degree line to put it home. Miles' shot, well saved by Bird.
I think what was good again by Michael Doan, he received the ball outside the D there, running on the left-hand side towards the push-out spot. Got the ball aerial, waited for the defender to make the mistake. Defender rushed. He thought that he could try win the ball, and by doing so, he conceded penalty corner. We try and teach this baseline defense is quite an important part of the game, and by being patient and man marking your opposite number makes it better. Great running by Posthumous. I think his line has been perfect this series. #1 runner.
So Australia get the reward for the ball glancing off South African first wave's foot, Cody Posthumous. So Craig Marais, the injector for Australia, a second chance here. Bit of a shimmy by the Australians, and the flick is right over the top by Campbell Geddes.
Yeah, I watched Campbell Geddes and Kyle Willett in the warm-up with their flicks. They tend to do the high option as their first option. That one definitely high and wide over the crossbar. For Aussie rules, I think that will definitely be a three-pointer down the middle. Ethan Murray giving us some support. Come on, SA, we want some more goals. Great call, and I think that's the boys' big effort going to be needed by them at the moment. So yeah, definitely.
Right, Car Stonehouse, this series has been exciting to watch all three games. Let's keep going at it. Go Aussies, go Jaden, #1. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Car Stonehouse. As you see Australia now building through the middle again through Jaden Atkinson. He passes out to Colin Walker forward. Two South Africans to contend with, but comes away with the free hit. Doan gets the ball going nice and early. Good turnover by Bradford for South Africa. Got to get his feet around this one. Does well. Good defending there.
Walker coming back after a couple of good attacks there. He got back for his team and stopped the counter-attack from South Africa. All played.
So this is Rath now up to Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe with some space ahead of him. Looks to play forward through the lines. Does well. But Australia got the last touch. So South Africa have a free hit in a commanding position high up the field.
Yeah, I think if they can move the ball quickly here, we've got Tevin Peterson out wide on the far left-hand side. Will create an attacking option. Bit slow. It was a bit slow, so I think they're going to have to reconsider or play it directly, which has been done. We've got the ball in the D surf. Yeah, well, good effort there.
Yeah, good ball in from Bradford on the reverse stick. Really difficult to always defend those balls rocketing in at you. Jet, you're a defender. You've no doubt received a lot of those. Sometimes it's good just to bang it straight in route one and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it puts both attack and defense under pressure in the circle. A missed trap or a missed touch could win a penalty corner. Also, at the end of the day, if you're playing it into the far post, if there's a guy on the far post who gets the whole way there, you're getting your free touch in. But on the defensive side, it's maybe wise sometimes. It's maybe wise sometimes to just deflect that out, then try and trap it, because you're giving the attack the second opportunity. Here we see a penalty corner. Maybe deemed by the South Africans outside the circle, but from my angle, and I think Swat, if you could agree with me, I think that was a penalty corner for Australia.
Yeah, 100%. Jared Campbell and Subi Mugwera Sekwabe coming in for the two-time, but just not quite pulling it off, and Campbell was definitely inside the circle when I think that ball rolled onto him there. So different injector for Australia. Connor Holland steps up to put the ball in. Josh Brooks lining up on Castle 1. Is that Kyle Willott?
That's Kyle Willott on
the
Castle
second
2.
Castle. I have a feeling they'll be favouring him here. They do with the shimmy. It's Willott. Well run down by Tevin Peterson. That is quality defensive running. They say you've got to be a little bit crazy and a little bit direct when you're doing that. Tevin Peterson's querying that it hit him on the waist.
Yeah, I think it's a bit disappointing to see that we don't have referrals here, because I think a referral will be taken by South Africa. I think the flick was above the knee. So Australia are given a little bit of life here on a second opportunity. But at the same time, I think your comment is great. Peterson running a great line, Cody Posthumous's line as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jed. I think, well, let's just watch here as this corner is taken. Willott with the variation, and it's in from the penalty spot. Kyle Willott nets his next goal for Australia, 6-3.
Yeah, what a player. I think this man is going to be a man to watch. I believe his father also played for the Australians back in his time. But yeah, this man is stepping up and leading his team and his country very well in this fixture. Instead of going for the straight drag, he pulls inside, pulls outside, and a beautiful flick. Unsure about Tane Bird's comments there, but fantastic flick from Kyle Willott.
So Nathan Zinner, good ball through there to Willott now, who's still in possession. Luke Winford does well to win the ball back, but the sheer physicality of Willott gets the ball into the circle. Neil Roth picks up. He's got Brooks trying to steal from behind him. Mugwera now backed into a corner. He's got a bit of space.
Yeah, we're sitting in dead man zone here. I think it's a bit of a sad zone if you're attacker or defender. Not much good comes out of this zone. Simple as that. I think Josh Brooks rushed the tackle there, where the South African defenders were waiting for a free hit to be conceded. And they, in the end, got the free hit. Need a little bit more composure from our defenders. Yeah, Posthumus in midfield now. I like this option. He might maybe be able to find the ball a little bit higher and get his troops going forward.
Yeah, so the South Africans rotating nicely now and not quite finding the gap that they wanted to, although this looks like Volstrom, who's now been able to get possession, driving hard up that sideline. Ooh.
Stephen Conway went for the ball there. The ball got pushed past him. But anyway, he's going through the line. Yeah, we've got an overlap on the left-hand side here. I think, again, we may be just going 1 versus 1 rather than creating the overlap and getting that ball to the overlap. We've got almost 3 players on the left-hand side here. If we can play it early, we could actually create a nice attacking option. But again, maybe a little bit keenness to get this ball going quickly, and maybe keenness to get on the score sheet. We actually build up, and maybe the conservative play will get that option going for us as we go into the circle.
So Posthumus here doesn't come away with any results on his baseline run.
As we see the replay of the goal, good keen change of direction there from Kyle Willott as he saw the striker, the number 1 runner come through, and a great finish. I think that's very, very clever indoor type flick that to get the ball going towards goal with a bit of pace and getting it up. Great turnover, Kyle Willott. Here he goes up the pitch. His mannerisms remind me of Australian player Eddie Ockenden. I might be mistaken if I call it wrong, but he's got a lot of good skills and good lanky running moments that bring up a good old Eddie Ockenden style of play, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah, Kyle Willott, certainly a special player, and enjoy your comparison there, Jets. Eddie Ockenden, certainly a favourite player of mine from that Australian setup.
Yeah, Karen Beatson, player of the series, I think so. I think he got man of the match in the last game, and showing his performance again in this match. Fully agree with you on that. But again, we've got to wait for our judges, and we'll see what happens. Stephen Conway getting us an attack here. Oh, great touch in front of the goals. Unfortunate going towards the goals. Beat the keeper, Jed Snowden. Great ball. Stephen Conway getting in the game a little bit here. Yeah, no options for him, so he's going to have to use his 1v1 skills. Michael Doan and Kyle Willott seem like they're managing it nicely in the far corner. Good, well played by the Australians there. Here's the replay. As we see, Jared Campbell trying to force the ball through, then gets a free hit. Stephen Conway takes this and gets some good aerial skills, good dribble skills through, beating 3 defenders, playing the ball across the face. Yeah, just a bit sad there from Abdullah that he was actually standing in front of the goals, that his deflection couldn't have been going towards goal. He might have needed to change his angle or receive and play the 1v1 with the goalkeeper there. Bit tight in the 9-yard, but a skill that needs to be played.
Oh, some more mistakes from the Australians. That one just fumbling off Peterson's leg. Australia will have the attacking free hit here now. Miles Davis on the ball. Comes forward with Henderson, who's now passed off again to Davis. They've won the free hit. This is going to be dangerous here. The Australians pressing outside the circle.
I like the game management here from the Australians. They lead this game 3-0, and they've kept the ball in the corner for a good period here. Not necessarily rushing the game by directing it straight in, but by making some short passes and keeping in this corner. As you can see, also with their free hit taking a little bit slower than usual. Normally they like taking their free hits quite quickly and get the game going. So very good, very sharp thinking by the Australians here.
So 7.5 minutes left on the scoreboard here. I think, Jethro, time is running out for South Africa unless we see a reply very soon. It's going to take a tall effort from the South Africans to score 3 goals here in 7 minutes. Not impossible, but we're going to need to see something going in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, I think as we spoke in the first half, if our set pieces are on point, let's go for set piece options. Let's win penalty corners. Let's see if we can get some, rather than trying to force the ball in, let's try work it out so that we can get Posthumus on the right, attacking the right castle, or Marvin Simons in the D, using his skillful talents to win penalty corners. And yeah, if we can win 3 penalty corners and score 3 goals, I think we've got it in us.
So here we go with Posthumus now for South Africa. Bradford in receive. Out to Maguire. Goes back up to Posthumus. He's got, is that
Tevin Peterson?
Tevin Peterson high up.
This is good movement by South Africa, getting the Australians to shift a little bit. Posthumus on the ball, trying to find a free hit, I think. Yeah, cycle from Stephen Conway. Bashes it in. Maybe a little bit 50-50 pass there from Stephen Conway. I think he was looking for a hard ball in, maybe get a deflection or a foot in there. Maybe something that South Africa doesn't need at the moment. Maybe we need to just build up and attack that baseline and, like I said, get those set pieces going. And if we get some set pieces, 3 of them, more likely, I think we'll get them in the goals.
Good direct play here from Australia. Craig Murray getting the initial ball in, well defended by Peterson. Good work on the baseline, a little bit loose, but the umpire judged that to have gone out from Joshua Henderson.
Okay, we need some energy from the South African boys here, as the Australians have dominated pretty much that energy department and physicality, as we see here. Two Australians taking each other out there, but conceding the free hit. Yeah, I think the game plan has been a little bit direct, a little bit asking a lot from our strikers and midfielders at the moment, and I think that's maybe why Australia are being cool and calm and collective. If we can try to create our 2 versus 1s, try to get the ball in the areas that will win us set pieces or penalty corners, that will definitely be an effective play for us. We're just under 5 minutes to play here.
So Australia forward, Willett in possession again here as he comes on the inside baseline, looking to play through Bird. Makes the save. Simons cleans up for South Africa.
It's a straight back. Yeah.
Easily recycled.
Ooh, same again by the Australians. Double turnovers here.
Good work by Van der Merwe to pick up the loose ball for South Africa, but he doesn't find anyone.
Looks like Josh Finlay has been taken out here. I think he's caused damage to his ankle or leg. Medics have been called on to come and check him out, and I think that might be the end of Josh Finlay's game. As we see Tane Bird getting the boys on top of the South African circle here, just getting them together, trying to discuss a little bit of game tactics and play, trying to get maybe his boys riled up and focus on what they're trying to achieve defensively, and maybe if we can work out a game plan going forward in the outlet. Here we see a replay. Carl Willett shifting as we see. This is from the first half, the first goal. Great goal from Carl Willett from the drag flick here. Here we see the second goal from Australia. Josh Brooks capitalizing and using a very good skillful reverse upright through the goalkeeper's legs. Posthumous on the straight flick here for South Africa's first goal in the top right hand corner. Brilliant. Here we see Australia controlling the ball down the right-hand side. Australian captain Carl Willett. Just keeping the ball, good game management. As I said before, I think the South Africans need to try and press these guys a little bit better and try to see if they can win the ball. Even if they give the free hits, it's just at least rushing the game a little bit on rather than wait for them to make the mistake.
So if you are watching on the live stream, you'll see that time is up on the screen, but there are 3 minutes left, obviously due to the various stoppages, especially that last one where Carl Finlay was helped off the field by his manager and physio. He's obviously won't be playing any further part in this game. So 2 minutes 50 seconds on the clock as South Africa look to build here through Luke Winford.
Yeah,
Posthumous.
We need a little bit of attacking play from Posthumous coming up the pitch here. This is going to be a good skillful play from him. Just needed to win a free hit there. Peterson wins the ball, plays the aerial pass, deemed dangerous.
So 2 minutes pretty much left to go here, and I think Jet a safe one to call. I don't think the South Africans can come back from this.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think player of the match has been given to Michael Doan. I think he's done really well this game. He's been connecting with Carl Willett. But at the end of the day, we need to give the man where credit due. Yeah, he's done the hard work without being really seen, but creating those options going forward for Australia.
Yeah, Australia really have stepped up the gears in this game tonight, Jethro. And there we see on screen the player of the match, Michael Doan. He wore the captain's armband for the first 2 games for Australia. And he certainly has just been, I think, the engine room of a lot of what's happened there tonight.
Winford trying to win a free hit there for South Africa. Clever thinking by Australia, get it down the other end, recycle, reset, get your structures in place and defend the next play. Yeah, we've got to give the compliments to the South African team as well. I think if you look in the series, they've also had the never say die attitude. They've been committed, they've been attacking, they've been far superior, I think, to sides that have been, especially on the attacking play. I think what is quite interesting, we're almost playing the game for game situation here, is the Australians like to play a very dynamic fast forward game, counter attack, see the energy, see the forward play, and I think the South Africans have done themselves proud in this series.
So 50 seconds left exactly on the stadium scoreboard before the hooter is going to bring this international series between SA schools and Australia schools to a close. Australia with the final possession here. There's Doan, already been adjudicated the player of the match. Not quite making good his chance on that ball there. 30 seconds on the clock. This is Muguera in possession. The final few passes of this game being meted out at the moment. Bradford rolls out to Posthumous.
Yeah, a little bit of hit and hope here at the moment. I think the South Africans realised that the game is done before the whistle. Posthumous has definitely had a good run today, scoring 3 goals. The Australians have definitely kept him quiet in the first half, which made the difference. And there we have it. Australia win the series in the last game with Kyle Willett scoring a couple of goals. Michael Doan being man of the match. 6-3 in the final test match. Australia win the series.
Yeah, Jet. So a 1-0 series win for Australia. And whilst they might have taken the series, I think we must not forget the hockey that we watched here in the first 2 nights of this international series and tonight as well. It hasn't been the whitewash that we've seen so often in the last 10 years between these 2 teams. There's been a wonderful coming together of standards and it's been really impressive to see for South African schools hockey. So despite the fact that these South African boys will be disappointed having lost the series, the fact that the series came down to the last game has shown you the quality that has been on offer here in Pietermaritzburg over the last 3 nights. Well done to both these teams.
Well, yeah, I think the compliment is that the crowd keeps coming out, and the crowd was out in full attendance again here. Now I think the food stands and the coffee stands have been well attended and definitely being used. And what's exciting is that even though that the hockey was played at a high standard, the sport was at high standard as well, and that's what we've got to give for this amazing sport, is that even though that we don't get the funds that football gets and the funds that rugby and cricket get in the world, hockey's a family sport, and the families come out and give it their all. It's great to see.
Yeah, and I think on the car radio on the way into tonight's game, the Varsity Cup football is getting underway at Wits University. And let me cut myself short there to the point I was making. We're going to go live now to AJ Springshoek, who's down on the field with the player of the match, Michael Doan.
Right, that was an unbelievably great end to the last match. It's almost sad that we are finishing off, but man of the match, Michael, well done. You couldn't have asked for a better finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the boys fought so hard, especially evidence in the last 3 days. You played so well. I mean, SA boys put a really good competition on, but I think today the boys had a really good ticker and came through.
And we saw it from the beginning already, where you slotted those 2 goals very early on, and it seemed to knock the South Africans out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what got us there, like really good early start. The boys were revved up and just carried throughout the whole game.
Thank you again. Well done, Michael Doan. Presentation of the Griffin player of the match from Wendell Domingo, the president of South African Schools Hockey Association. And that's back to you guys in the commentary box.
Thanks, AJ. Yes, as we see, actually an awesome feat at the moment is the 2 teams getting together and taking some photos. Had amazing team series and competitive games throughout the last 3 days.
Yeah, that's really what this is all about, Chet. I mean, amazing scenes there. These two teams coming together, such a wonderful mutual respect for each other. And again, I think that is just, indicative of the series that we've seen. Two quality teams playing quality hockey, both having a full go at each other. A brand that is in line with the hockey revolution. It's about goals. It's about attacking hockey. And I think this has been a great advert for youth hockey, for world hockey.
Yeah, it's world class. Just as I noticed there, obviously our captain or the captain that missed today's game, was standing next to an Aussie friend that he obviously made over the last 3 days, and I saw them having a good chat before this game began. And even there, he decided that he couldn't play today with a broken finger. So the exciting thing is that even though that the guys were here to win this match, they were there for a conversation before the game even started.
So players just gathering for the closing awards. Of course, 2 trophies being handed out tonight. Firstly, in the boys' competition, the Paul Creevy Friendship Trophy in the boys' competition, and then the Friendship Cup, which is the trophy for the girls' competition. And I see down in the field at the moment the dignitaries from South African Schools Hockey, Mr. Wendell Domingo and Mr. Peter Vieira, the Vice President and the President respectively. So I can see the teams already down there exchanging shirts.
It's awesome to see. And also check the Aussie supporters in the background there giving a full go for their boys. I think they did it for the ladies team as well, so incredible to have the Australian support that came out and supported their teams. Yeah, Swat, I think a great opportunity for obviously us in the commentary box to get this. School Sports Live have given us this great opportunity, and I thank them and thank you for organising this amazing event. I think most of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that organised everything, and compliments to you guys. I thank you so much.
No, thank you, Jet, and I think you are right. Great partners in School Sport Live, really quality footage. So, down on the field now, the MC, Mr. AJ Spuringshoek, announcing the player of the series in the girls section. Bianca Wood from South Africa has just been announced player of the series. There she is, being congratulated by Peter Vieira, the Vice President of South African Schools.
Yeah, I think it's a better call there. I think with scoring, I think with her scoring 4 goals. 4 goals in the series made a massive difference, and here we see obviously Carl Willard winning the player of the series for Australia, wearing a South African shirt there, which is epic to see. But yeah, much deserved. I think he deserved even the player of the match in this last game. But Michael Doan pipped him there, but at the end of the day, he wins the player of the series in this grueling contest that was over the last 3 days.
Yeah, well done, Carl Willard, a deserved man of the series. We're now moving on to the trophy presentation, and this is the Friendship Trophy. There it is, being handed out to the South African girls, winning this series 3-0, making history in Pietermaritzburg this week. Not only was Monday night the first time that the South African girls had ever won a game in these series against Australia, but to win the series 3-0, and there they are. Amara Hendricks receiving the trophy for her team.
Yeah, I was very proud when I heard that they made history on the first night, and then they comfortably beat the Aussies this week. Epic result, and well done to our ladies, and good luck for the future. Yeah, and we see that the Australian team getting the trophy.
The Paul Creevy Friendship Cup, named after legendary School Sport Australia administrator brother Paul Creevy, who had his last tour in 2016, and that trophy named after him in honor of everything he did between these two nations and creating what has been now over a decade of friendship between these two countries.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just giving a compliment to our umpires this week. Yes, there's been obviously a bit of a debate and conversation being had off the field and on the field. But at the end of the day, the game can't continue if we don't have umpires, and I think they did a superb job this week.
Yeah, and I think we are going to start wrapping things up here from our side. Jethro Eustace, it's been a pleasure having you on board over the last 3 days. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Swatter, and yes, to everyone that came out and watched live and those that streamed us, thank you as well for the continued support, and we'll see you guys in the future.
Yep, and that's it from the 2018 International Series between South Africa and Australia. We're going to call it a wrap. Thank you, all of you from literally around the world who have joined us over the last 3 nights. You've been amazing. The hockey's been amazing. Thank you very much. And until next time, until we bring you version 2020, good night all, and thanks very much.